I'd just like to just start by saying I think Mick's introduction around businesses thinking differently is what I'm here to tell the story about tonight. This is the story of the Pedal Group and how we've thought differently since we were set up as a business in 2008. In terms of a brief introduction, okay, from a personal perspective, that's I've got three amazing kids. That's my daughter Giselle, and given this is Brisbane 17X, a photo by the Brisbane River riding along. So plenty of good imagery locally. In terms of I'm wherever Hayley is, I'm a chartered accountant actually originally. So thank you to the Institute for the support that you provided to 17X. And I'll promise not to have too many charts or data through. In terms of just a quick background of our company, we started in 2007 with one store just down the road in Milton, one store. So a team of four, and lost a bit of money the first year. And since then, we've evolved over the last 15 years to have 73 stores across Australia and New Zealand. We're about to set up in the UK, so going really global, coming up over the next few months. And also we've got a couple of other businesses. We've got a wholesale business which brings in bikes from a importation perspective, and a property business which helps secure sites, and we've expanded that to warehousing. So we've got a vertically integrated bike business, retail at the core, and then wholesale and retail. So a little bit of the background there. And from a personal perspective, I started in the company in October 2008. And I've been it's so fortunate to be able to combine my passion for bikes with a career. So working through the wholesale business and then the retail business and then the CEO role. In terms of touching on purpose, and I just wanted to go back to, this is an extract, there's a bit of detail here, but an extract from our website in 2008 around why our company was set up to exist. And it talks about the Green Team, which was all about sponsoring everyday riders to get cars off the road and people onto bikes. And then it talks about green transport in Brisbane. So well before having a purpose was a trendy thing, that was part of our original DNA as a company. In terms of, I guess the next thing, in terms of the theme about thinking differently as a company, in terms of establishing a purpose, we also do think differently. It wasn't a matter of the senior people across the group getting together and coming up with something that looked good on a poster. It was, we scoured the company across the board and said, why is it that you do what you do? Why do you love bikes? Why do you love being in the bike industry and working for our company? And that's how we came up with our purpose. So our purpose exists to enrich mind, body, earth, or soul with the freedom of riding. So it was really something that means something to everyone across the board. The freedom of riding was a common theme, as well as different parts of it in terms of mind, the mental health, or body with the physical side. So it really did come together from that. And I'll just maybe hands up, following Nicole's lead, who has kids or nieces or nephews? That's a pretty big majority. So most people. So our customer base goes from the first bike for a child, probably 2 years old, from a balance bike, all the way through. I was recently in Melbourne and heard the story of a 90-year-old gentleman who now commutes 5 kilometres each day to see his life partner in a nursing home via an e-bike, an electric bike. It's something he couldn't do without that technology. So our customer base is so broad, from the young child to someone visiting his wife in those terms. So yes, special to be involved in this industry. In terms of just touching on our philosophies, and 15 years ago, our philosophy, I'll summarise the first three really quickly. It was 1, you look after your people who will look after your customers, and 3, will be profitable. That's what our philosophies were. There were another 7, by the way, but I'm just shortcutting it. In terms of, from doing various presentations at town halls to our stores, I came to realise that talking about returns and dividends and profits, people's eyes just glazed over. It was when talking about what we're doing to make a difference to the world and our purpose that people were really engaged. So we changed that about 3 years ago to say purpose drives profit. And ultimately, as a company, we need both. We need to be profitable to exist, but ultimately we've decided that purpose is more important. In Europe, the infrastructure for bikes is fantastic, and there's definitely some parts of Australia where investment in infrastructure is needed. 50% of bike sales in European stores actually come from electric bikes. So they're doing a great job of getting cars off the road. And ultimately, that's important to us, and it's a great growth part of the market. In terms of touching on how does this all link to the Sustainable Development Goals? Just touching on, this slide was really easy to put together because it was straight out of a presentation 3 years ago, before personally I'd heard of 17X. So this was the Green Revolution, reducing climate change, and we came up with 6 SDGs that we were talking about through 4 different pillars. So it was something that helped create a framework for where we want to make a difference around renewable energy, around reducing our waste, our ride to work, and our upcycle program. Having an overall plan around playing our part, I should say, in reducing climate change, I just wanted to share a few things around how we are thinking differently as a company. That's an aerial view of our Bowen Hills store, just down the road again, our warehouse and an office. So we go big with solar. About 70% of our stores have got solar, reducing our energy consumption. And we try to patch up every part of the roof to make sure that we're doing our best there. Around tyre and tube recycling, how do we make a difference there? So we had some passionate people across our Melbourne stores, I should say, that were very passionate about this, as opposed to what would traditionally happen is the rubber just ends up in landfill, adding further emissions. There was no, in terms of how to think differently, most companies go, okay, well, let's get a consultant or let's get someone who can do it for us. And in terms of how we've thought differently is we need to take ownership for that. So we started with that I guess, little trailer in the top left-hand side, and the stores put the tyres and tubes in boxes, and we picked it up, and then we worked out where the depot was. And that's slowly evolved with improved logistics through our delivery service. And ultimately, this is providing a second use for that rubber in terms of athletics tracks and kids' playgrounds, just to name a few things. So part of thinking differently. I love this one. Most companies would, if you've got an idea, will try this national approach to trying to solve some problems. We don't do that. We say, okay, what is needed locally and how do we empower our people locally to make a difference? And a good example here is the upcycle program in Perth. So from talking to our Perth team, they've said, we've got a great idea. What we want to do is we want to get secondhand bikes coming into store. And what we'll do is instead of them ending up in landfill as well, we will donate those bikes to a charity. So it's a local charity with a company called Dismantle, which helps troubled kids, helps get them active in terms of their skills, in terms of putting their mind to rebuilding bikes, and then gets them on a bike to keep them, off screens and that sort of thing, and also keep fit and well. So we're kind of linking in a few parts of our purpose, the environmental side as well as the soul side in terms of giving back. And that's a picture of I think it's our O'Connor store, of how they're actually bringing that to life locally through some signage. And it's just something that they're proud of. And it's something that we wouldn't be able to do if we tried to do it with a big bang nationally. Earning to Give, very proud of this one. So this is a program that we've got across our company where 1% of everyone's wages is donated to the charity of their choice. Not a central choice from the company nominates, their choice. Very empowering to say what's important to me is going to be different to other people across our business. And yeah, very, very proud to say the company pays for it, by the way, as well. So very proud to say that over the last, since 2016, we've donated, nearly $1.9 million to charities that our people, thank you, that our people have chosen themselves. So it's a program that's going to keep going, and it ultimately means a lot to us to be able to make those sort of decisions and give back. The green team. So this is what talking about getting cars off the road, how our company was set up in the first place to try and reduce pollution, get more people riding to work. It's a small thing, but anyone across our business can get paid to ride to work. It's $2, but it might subsidise half a coffee or something like that, maybe not quite that much. So thinking differently as a business, how did we do this? Well, most companies, most bike-related companies will be sponsoring teams or athletes or sports. We go, no, we want to sponsor everyday people, everyday riders to ditch their cars and ride to work. How does this all wrap up together from a company perspective? So we've got our purpose to enrich mind, body, earth, or soul with the freedom of riding. We've got being purpose-driven as a core thing, but bringing it to life is kind of, I think, the thing that I'm most excited about. So it's real, it exists within our businesses, both in Australia, New Zealand, and soon to be the UK. And then we can actually set up the different strategies around being majority employee owned. We've got a very generous, we give shares in our company to our people, as an example, as just a way of really driving that employee ownership philosophy across our business. So this is the way. There are some commercial outcomes there. So it is partly about commercial outcomes because we need that to survive from a long-term perspective. However, it's more about purpose driving profit. So just in terms of wrapping up, I'm very proud to be part of such an amazing company where we're able to have the chance to really make a difference to the world, to get more people riding bikes. There's some massive problems that we're facing around, whether it's the World Health Organization talks about the anxiety and depression crisis, or Australian Bureau of Statistics talking about obesity, that sort of thing. Bikes can be part of the solution, keeping people more active, helping play a part in fitness, in reducing mental health issues, as well as ultimately playing a part in the environment and coming together from solving a couple of, or taking steps, I should say, to play a part in some of the SDGs from a climate change perspective, as well as health and well-being. Thanks very much.